Ruben, a positive result, two games in 5 days. How do you assess that?
Yeah, look, really positive. Extremely proud of my playing group. First of all, and my staff. There's big improvements, and it's again, I think today's performance is another step in the right direction for, not only the team and the club, but also a lot of individuals. You could really see some players growing into themselves, out there in that moment. So yeah, really positive.
Asumah, ABUBAKAR, you scored another goal for us, 4 and 9 now. Take us through when he signed in the transfer window. Did you expect him to be the player that he has become as far as leading the line and really scoring most of the goals for the club?
Yeah, look, it's the whole, detail of signing players and trying to bring good players into your team to improve the club. It's very contextual. Like I said on pitch, Archie Goodwin's someone that I'm really close to. Obviously, got Newcastle connections, and he's someone that had basically agreed to sign for us. But the contract offer that we were able to put at that point in that first window is nowhere near the level to bring players of his quality to the club. So we're left in that position where we then have to look at the assets that we do have, and with that financial constraint, with the budget cuts, obviously in the off season, it leaves us with Tommy Waddingham. But we've done a great job, as a football club to develop Tommy. Very proud of my players and my staff for the environment that they create to produce and sell players like Tommy. And then with that money comes the next window, and then we're actually able to spend, a portion of what we sell Tommy for to bring in a player like Asumah, who's an above the level footballer and a fantastic player in person. And like I said at the start of the year, it will take a few windows to get this club out of this situation, and I stand by that. We only made a couple of additions, but even a few additions in a situation like this can make a difference. And with each window, I expect to make better signings and keep improving the team and the playing roster.
Just speaking about Asumah, he did sign, I believe, for a short term. But you and the club looking to obviously try and extend his time here in Australia and specifically at the club? Look,
I've told the club, I made it clear, a few weeks ago that he's someone that we should be securing long term. I was keen to sign him long term to start with, trusting my recruitment framework and my processes of looking at players. The calibre of strikers that we're able to identify and target. Adam Taggart's someone that I brought to Perth and he got Golden Boot in the team that came last. Like I say, Archie's someone that we nearly had but didn't have the resources to bring him here, and Asumah's another one who I believe is a top class footballer, and keeping him long term would be very clear and obvious, I think, for everyone to see. The difference is now that he's exposed, he's on the open market.
Speaking of young players have come through, Jacob Brissett has certainly, he's gone to another level. Where's his sort of ceiling as far as if you talk, say such a thing about him from when he first broke through team to now and beyond? Yeah, look,
Jakey's, we've said it a few times, fantastic young kid. He's a different personality, a different character, but someone that I've got a lot of time for, him and his family. And I've been very hard on Jacob, and really pushed him and tried to squeeze every ounce of his ability, and get him on the big stage. And I think part of that process has been trying to get him to understand the importance of off the ball moments, defensive press triggers, and identifying different spaces and trying to improve his end product. And what I can say is he's got a fantastic attitude, and he's got a fantastic appetite for the game and a big belief in himself. And so if you piece that all together, he's really taken on that information. He's really growing as a player, and I'm extremely proud of the work that we've done with him. But I believe he's got a very high ceiling, and I believe there's a lot more there's a lot more to come from Jacob as he grows into his body and grows into his status as a professional footballer.
In the last couple of games, Jacob had started, he's done really well. His confidence really built over the last couple of games. So it feels like now he's really got that confidence and belief he can cause damage in front of him.
Yeah, look, it's a process. It takes time. You got to remember the context again. Like I keep saying, is we were able to bring Jacob in that first window, but we brought him from being a substitute in the NPL in Sydney for Sydney FC, someone who's nowhere near A-League training from all accounts, and now he's doing what he's doing at professional level. That's a process. It takes time to develop the player. It takes time to get him physically ready, mentally ready, and mentor him into that But yeah, like I say, I think that there's a much higher ceiling on him with the right coaching, with the right environment. There's a lot more to come.
We had a chance to look back at the offsides. It looked very, very close.
Look, I haven't seen it back, but like I said, I said it on pitch interview as well. I think those are the things that kind of go for you, when you're a little bit higher up the ladder. In our position today, I think we've had 2 goals, both very, very close offsides. So we've scored 3 goals, we put the ball in the back of the net 3 times, but we only get 1 to show for it. But to be honest, at this point in the season, even though we'd love to win, the result shouldn't really be the measure of what we're doing. I think the togetherness of our playing group, for all of the things that the players have had to endure this season. Some of the things are laughable, if I'm honest, that we've had to endure. That'd be nearly a headline in the comedy festival next week, the Brisbane Comedy Show. But they're uncontrollables. What we can control is the mentality of the group, the togetherness of the group, and that's very clear and evident. And also, the playing style. We have to play a style of football that produces young assets, like your Waddinghams and like your Harringtons and like your Brizettes and like your Sam Kleins. None of those players were playing A-League football before we got here. So there's a process. There's a few other young ones that are working really hard behind the scenes that haven't had as much exposure. A couple of young Queenslanders and a couple of other interstate boys. And I believe it'll leave the club in good stead down the track.
3 home games in the span of a week. Is there going to be more rotation between now and the game on Saturday in terms of just trying to freshen the side up?
Yeah, look, we had some rotation tonight, but to be honest, that was due to illness. We had a couple of boys, a bit of a bug go through the team. So, Berkey played pretty crook tonight. We didn't have Waleed come to the game because he was really ill. So we lost a couple to illness. And there's some tired and bruised and battered bodies in there. But like I say, they want to fight for each other. They want to work for each other. They want to play for the staff. And that leaves us in good stead. No matter who we play on Saturday, we expect to be competitive and keep improving.
Talk about mentality of the team. Obviously been through a lot. Save that horror half against MacArthur. Have you been impressed the way that the team has sort of in the second half of the season with not much to play for other than for pride and perhaps contracts? The way the team has performed in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I am. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of the players. But there's always a lot to play for. None more so than each other. That's something that I'm very big on, and the boys have been fantastic. They play for each other, and yes, there's moments, like you say, the MacArthur second half. I think the City game at home, there's been a few moments where I feel like we kind of let ourselves down to our standards, but as does every team at moments. But there's been a lot of times where they show resilience, where they lean on each other in times of need and then play some really, really good football. And again, tonight's another one where, you've got opposition players talking about, how well we play and the football we play. And, to turn those performances into results, you need assets. We're not in a position to buy them at the moment, so we have to develop them, and that takes time. But I'm very, very proud of what we've been able to achieve and some of the positives, through this transitional year.
Final one from me. Small crowd tonight on the back of game last Thursday. Are you confident that the style and the way that the boys are playing at the moment can at least attract a bigger crowd for Saturday against the Knicks?
Yeah, look, it would. The style of football and the way we're playing is obviously exciting and entertaining, and it's conducive to producing football, football talent and football assets. But at the end of the day, they need results to go with those performances. And I feel like the fans at this club have endured a lot over a long period. And like I've said a few times, I really empathise with them that we haven't been able to get more wins for them, especially at home, because I know tonight there wasn't so much a big turnout, but there's been plenty of games where they've turned out and we've fallen just short, for obvious reasons, and I'm sure they'll stick around. There's a lot of loyal, members and fans here at this club, and we'll try and finish the season as strong as we can and try and represent them as best we can. But yeah, like that's the culmination of a lot of frustration over a long time, I'm sure. Cheers, thanks guys.